You've just been introduced to someone. You shook their hand, they said their name, clearly, right into your face, 3 seconds ago. And it's gone. Not fuzzy, not on the tip of your tongue, erased, like it never entered your head at all. So now you're standing there nodding, smiling, running the most frantic calculation of your day. How long can I keep this going without saying their name? And how do I escape before somebody walks over expecting an introduction? If that's you, you've probably spent years quietly assuming it means something ugly about you, that you're rude, self-absorbed, that you don't care enough about people. And I want to tell you right now, it's almost exactly backwards. What's happening inside your brain is one of the best documented quirks in all of human memory. Once you understand it, I don't think you'll ever feel guilty about it again. Let's start with a thing almost nobody realizes. A person's name is, by a wide margin, the single hardest thing about them to remember. Not one of the hardest. The hardest. Here's an experiment psychologists have run for decades. Show people a photo of a man. Tell one group, this is Mr. Baker. Tell another, this man is a baker. Same word, same face. Come back later, and the group who learned he is a baker remembers far more often than the group who learned his name is Baker. It's called the Baker-Baker paradox, and it explains everything. Because think about what happens in your head when you hear baker as a job. Instantly, a whole web lights up. Flour, warm bread, an apron. It hooks into 100 things you already know. Now hear baker as a surname. It hooks into nothing. It's a meaningless sound, arbitrarily bolted onto a human being. Their face, their laugh, their job, their story, all of that hangs on scaffolding your mind already has. The name just floats there, alone, with nothing to grab. And your brain is a machine built almost entirely out of things to grab. But it gets worse because of when the name arrives. It gets fired at you in the first 2 seconds, before you know a single thing about this person, before there's any story for it to stick to. And what's your brain doing right then? It's busy. It's reading their face, judging the handshake, deciding if they seem friendly, working out where to look, and above all, preparing what you're about to say. That last one is a documented memory killer. In 1973, a researcher named Malcolm Brenner described the next in line effect. When you know you're about to speak, your memory for whatever was said just before your turn collapses. It's exactly why a room of people going around introducing themselves is a graveyard for names. You weren't listening to them. You were rehearsing yourself. So the name doesn't fail to come back. It never went in. Psychologists call that an encoding failure. It was never stored. You can't open a file you never saved. And there's one more layer, and it hits certain people hardest. If you're at all socially anxious, if meeting new people puts you even slightly on alert, your attention doesn't point outward. It points in. Researchers call it self-focused attention. You're monitoring yourself. How do I sound? Is my smile weird? What do I say next? All of that runs on the same limited pool of working memory that would otherwise be encoding this person's name. The caring is what's eating the resources. Sit with that for a second, because it's the part nobody ever tells you. Forgetting someone's name is not proof that you didn't care. Very often, it's proof you cared too much, that you were so busy trying to be present, warm, not awkward, that the one arbitrary sound in the whole encounter slips straight through the net. Now let me be honest with you, because you know what this channel usually does. This one isn't a wound. There's no childhood story buried underneath, no old hurt that made you this way. This is architecture. It's how the machine is built. Proper names are the most fragile thing in human memory. the first to vanish in a tip of the tongue moment, the first to get harder as we age, and they've been humiliating people for as long as people have had them. You're not broken, you're standard issue, which also means it's fixable, not by trying harder, but by giving the name something to hold on to. Say it back immediately. Sarah. Good to meet you, Sarah. That one repetition drags it out of the hallway of your mind and into an actual room. Then give it a hook. Link it to someone you already know with that name, or picture something ridiculous. Sarah in a safari hat. It feels stupid. It works because you just turned a meaningless noise into a picture, and pictures have hooks. And the big one, use their name once more before you walk away. That single act of pulling it back out beats an hour of trying to memorize it. And if you blank anyway, just say it. I'm so sorry, I've completely lost your name. People forgive it instantly because every one of them has stood exactly where you're standing. Because here's what I actually want you to take from this. You've probably carried a quiet little shame about this for years. The assumption that people who remember everybody's name are somehow warmer than you, better with people, better humans than you. They're not. They just have a different filing system. Meanwhile, ask yourself what you do remember about people. Because I'd bet you remember how they made you feel, the thing they were nervous about, the way their voice changed when they talked about their kid, the story they told you 6 months ago that they've probably forgotten they told you. You didn't lose their name because they didn't matter. You lost it because you were paying attention to them. And of the two things you could have walked away with, a sound or a person, I'm not sure you picked the wrong one. If this one landed, do me a favor and subscribe. This whole channel is about the quiet patterns most of us never get the words for. And I want to hear it. Drop a comment with your worst name blank, the one that still makes you cringe years later. Trust me, you are not alone in there. I'll see you in the next one.